Here's a completely rewritten version of your script in a fresh, unique style. I've kept every single detail and idea intact without skipping any content, but rephrased everything in a more engaging, natural, and dynamic storytelling way. Timestamps and repetitive music cues have been removed for smoother flow. Man, I've gotta be real with you, this was one of those special NASCAR weekends that just hits different. The kind of day that reminds you exactly why we tune in every single weekend. Why we ride through all the chaos, the crashes, the heartbreaks, and the breakthroughs. Because in just one day at the exact same track, we witnessed both sides of what this sport can do to a driver. We saw raw frustration, costly mistakes spinning out, and that overwhelming feeling of being in over your head. And then we saw confidence, poise, control, and that beautiful moment when everything finally starts to click. Two races, same driver, same Rockingham Speedway. What happened between those two races says way more than any finishing position ever could. It's a story about growth, handling pressure, mindset shifts, and what it truly takes to earn your spot in NASCAR. Before we jump in deep, if you're a real NASCAR fan like me who lives and breathes this sport every week, do me a favor, smash that like button and subscribe to NASCAR Nation Report. We're pushing hard toward 15,000 subscribers, and this is the spot for fans who actually get it. Alright, let's dive in because there's a lot to unpack here. What makes this weekend even wilder is that it wasn't just another race. It felt like a genuine turning point, the kind of moment where you either get exposed or you prove you belong and can actually grow in this tough sport. And on this day, we saw both sides from the same driver. Let's start with the first race at Rockingham Speedway, and I'm not going to sugarcoat it, it was rough. It was one of those humbling days that hits you fast. Cleetus McFarland came in with real backing from Richard Childress Racing. This wasn't some casual content creator just having fun. This was someone stepping into a serious professional environment with real expectations. He qualified 33rd, already buried deep in the field, already fighting traffic, already in a spot where mistakes come easier. By the end of the race, he finished 32nd, just one spot gained. But that number doesn't even begin to tell the real story of what happened out there. The race turned into a struggle almost immediately. Starting as early as lap 3, things began to unravel. The original plan was simple: take it easy, treat it like a learning session, stay clean, and build experience. But that's something a lot of people don't fully understand about NASCAR. When you make one mistake early, it doesn't just cost you position, it gets inside your head. You start overthinking, hesitating, overcorrecting, and that usually leads to even more problems. And that's exactly what happened. Instead of sticking to the plan, he went 3 wide into a corner like he was battling for the win. He sent it in way too aggressively, lost control, and spun out. That moment is something every racing fan instantly recognizes, getting caught up in the heat of the moment, forgetting the plan, and paying the price right away. But it didn't end there. Later on, he spun again, this time simply carrying too much speed into the corner, pure inexperience showing itself. Then came another incident with contact where he even admitted he was about half at fault. After that, another moment where he was just trying to stay out of the leader's way and it still went wrong. In total, 4 spins. What stood out the most was how the race kept resetting for him. Every time he started building a little rhythm and feeling comfortable, something would happen and knock him right back to square one. He even mentioned that at one point he was starting to feel good again, running with a small pack, getting into the flow, and then another mistake would wipe it all away. The toughest moment came late in the race. He was on completely worn-out tires, the leaders were charging hard, and he openly admitted he felt like he was in way over his head. That's the brutal truth of NASCAR. It's not just about driving fast, it's about managing tires, track position, awareness, and smart decisions all at the same time. When one thing goes wrong, the whole thing can fall apart. He even managed to spin on pit road, which just added to how chaotic the whole day felt for him. But here's what I respect the most about Cleetus: he owned every single bit of it. No excuses. He didn't blame the car, didn't blame other drivers. He straight up said he made a ton of mistakes, learned a lot, and knows he still has so much more to improve on. And even in all that chaos, he still managed to not take anyone else out. He didn't ruin another driver's race, and in the NASCAR garage, that matters a lot. He even joked about all the online talk making him wonder if he should even come back, then immediately said he'll be at Talladega in 2 weeks. That right there shows his real mentality. Now here where the story gets really good. Same track, same day, same driver. But this time it was the ARCA race with Rhett Jones racing in the number 30 car, and everything flipped. Cleetus went out there and finished 4th, a solid top 5 result. And this wasn't luck. This was control. This was discipline. This was a completely different mindset. He said himself that this was the most confident he has ever felt in a stock car, and you could see it in how he raced. He kept the leaders in sight the entire time without forcing anything. He wasn't putting himself in bad spots. He was managing the race instead of fighting against it. And when you can do that, stay close, stay clean, and stay consistent, that's when you start earning real respect in the garage. Because anyone can be fast for a few laps, but running an entire race without falling apart, that's what separates the drivers who belong. The biggest difference between the two races was clear. In the first one, he forgot he was still learning and pushed too hard too soon, constantly putting himself in trouble. In the second race, he respected the process. He stayed within his limits. He focused on being clean and consistent. He even put it in the simplest terms. He said he just didn't do anything stupid. And in NASCAR, especially at this stage, that's everything. He gave a lot of credit to Greg Biffle, saying he went out there applying everything he's learned from him. He also talked about how much he's already grown just by being around Richard Childress racing in such a short time. That kind of environment accelerates development, and this result proved it. Even after a strong fourth-place finish, he stayed humble. He knew there was another race later, the O'Reilly event, and openly said he'd probably get whooped. That's not doubt, that's awareness. That's someone who understands that progress is a step-by-step process. So what does all of this really mean? Not every driver gets a second chance like this on the same day. A bad race can stick with you for a long time. But here, Cleetus had the chance to reset, go back out, and show something completely different, and he took full advantage of it. It shows that Cleetus McFarland is exactly where he needs to be right now. He's making mistakes, but he's not ignoring them. He's learning, and more importantly, he's applying those lessons almost immediately. That kind of quick adjustment is rare. What we witnessed was one of the toughest races possible, followed by clear, visible improvement on the same track. That's something you pay close attention to. Does this mean he's ready to compete at the highest level every single week? Not yet. The first race made that obvious. But the second race showed something just as valuable, real potential. Heading into a place like Talladega where anything can happen and confidence plus decision-making are everything, this weekend becomes very interesting. Because now we know two important things: he can struggle badly and he can respond strongly. That combination makes a driver worth watching. This is exactly the kind of journey that makes NASCAR so special. The struggles, the lessons, the small victories, and the growth happening right in front of us in real time. So now everyone's eyes are on what comes next. This is the stage where a driver either keeps evolving or hits a wall. After what we saw this weekend, I don't think people are going to underestimate him the same way anymore. If you enjoyed this breakdown, hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and I'll catch you in the next one. Cleetus McFarland went from total chaos to real confidence in the same day. He struggled hard in one race, then proved his potential with a strong top-5 finish. That kind of growth is what NASCAR is all about. And honestly, this might just be the beginning of something much bigger.